Okay, I think we're live. Welcome, live from the crossroads of America, a talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. I lost my track of thought here. Anything crosses my mind. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat or email me at Rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. We are broadcasting on gun channels in YouTube. And I have a Patreon page and all that good stuff. It's up here on the screen right now, if you can read it. Plus, it's below in the banner, I believe. So that's about it. Let's see, who we got in the room so far? Jason's here. 2 Live Moo. Black Cat Outdoors is here so far. New York Outcast has joined us. And at the moment, I have nobody in the panel. Nobody showing up yet. Plus, I'm using StreamYard this weekend instead of my usual, gun tube chambers or whatever they call it. I thought I'd just change it up a little, see what people prefer. Hey, Raphael's joined us. Sabrina's joined us. Good to see y'all. So, I don't know where my panel's gone, but that's okay. I can hold it together for an hour, I think. If not, I can close it early. It's my show. All right. As my topic says, just a week in review. I mean, most of the week is either been covered by impeachment by the mainstream media, and by the Second Amendment, it's been Virginia. So there we go. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of different stuff about Virginia. I mean, it turned out, from what I can understand, the Virginia Citizens Defense League was holding a lobby day for people to go in and talk to their legislators. But somehow it's turned into a rally. And that's where the confusion's been had, I think. The Virginia Defense League is saying it's a lobby day, and everybody else is saying it's a rally being held in Virginia. So everybody's coming, So there we go. Oh, Patrick's joined us. I haven't seen it yet, Patrick. So anyway, there we go. So I don't know. Really, yes, another thing people are saying is they finally poked the bear and he's woke up. Really, basically what Virginia is doing is they've shut the gate after the horses bolted. They could have prevented all this if they got off their goddamn asses and voted. And all that kind of good stuff. In my opinion. How come you're not in there, Kingpin? Or doesn't StreamYard doesn't work for you? And if it doesn't, I do apologize. So, what else was I going to talk about on that Virginia thing? Well, I've seen arguments where people, because I think where all this came from is the Virginia Citizens Defense League on their webpage asked people not to carry long guns because it was going to say it would distract from what they were doing, which I can understand to a certain degree. What do you mean no link? I sent you one. Hang on, let me send you another one. Hold on. I can't do two things at once. I just sent you another one in an email. So yeah, I saw his video where he said that at the very end. Hey, hey, there you go. You see how they magically lost all the video footage of what happened that they said that they claimed that was there, but now it's magically disappeared, so they can't say who done what now. It's a conspiracy. It's a cover up. Just like this, in my opinion, just like this impeachment bullshit. Now, from what people, I don't know if it's true or not, but from what I've been reading and stuff, technically, he's not impeached until the impeachment gets sent over to the Senate. I don't know if that's true or not. So, we'll see. But I think even if it goes over to the Senate, they're not going to. They're not even going to impeach him. They're not going to impeach him, but let him stay in office. They're definitely not going to kick him out of office. And they more likely just do an acquittal. Oh, Ted Horse says they came out yesterday and said they found the tapes of the first suicide attempt. Yeah, but they don't have any tapes of the actual suicide that actually killed him, technically. Those tapes are gone missing. That's good old New York for you. That's where he was, wasn't he? Wasn't he in New York State where that happened? So, I don't know. Well, besides that, let's see. I'm just fumbling around here waiting for somebody to show up in my panel. I did send out the link. I know I did. Let me check my sent mail. Yeah. I did. I sent it out 19 minutes ago. There he is. Hey, Kingpin.
Evening, Rick, or afternoon, Rick. How was everything?
All right. I'm glad you showed up.
Yeah. Glad to be aboard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Sabrina says in the news there, because she's in the Netherlands, they say he is impeached. Because of the support he has in the Senate, he won't leave. Yeah, I mean, the impeachment, he won't even be found guilty or anything. It more likely be dismissed. So when you read through history books in years to come, the 45th president, Donald J. Trump, might have an asterisk next to it. Then down the bottom, you look at the footnotes and it said he was impeached, or he was impeached and it was dismissed or something. Is what you're going to find. But from what I read and what these scholars are saying now is if it doesn't actually reach the Senate, he hasn't technically been impeached. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not a constitutional scholar.
That's pretty much true. I mean, he's been impeached, but also technically there is a process that has to go through in order for it to be official.
Okay, there you go. That's what I was reading. I mean, I don't know. So, but yeah, I mean, to me, I don't know. Is the country sick of it? Because I know I definitely am. I am definitely sick of hearing about it. I mean, unfortunately, even that radio hostess who got his show canceled, I don't know. Did he get fired in the end? that one in Colorado who said, "I'm getting tired of the impeachment stuff. A nice school shooting would be good to break the monotony of the mainstream media just talking about the impeachment all the time." I mean, as soon as he said it, I mean, his show was shut down about 10 minutes after he said it. So I mean, that wasn't the smartest thing to say. I understand what he was trying to say. Need something else in the news to distract from the impeachment bullshit that's going on. But then again, everybody's sick of it because they've been bombarded with it. They've been bombarded with it day in, day out, for the last few months.
Well, I think it's more than just the bombardment. I think it's the bombardment and the fact that it's total bullcrap. If it was actually something impeachable and actually something that the vast majority of the American public really thought was a violation of his oath of office, then they probably wouldn't care so much if it was on the news all day, every day. But for the past 3.5 years, it's been Donald Trump is a Russian agent. He's going to kill us all. He's going to get us in a war with nuclear war with North Korea and this, that, and the third. And everybody knows it's a lie. And even the people who hate Trump know it's a lie. They just don't care because they hate Trump.
Yeah. You're right. I think that's it. I mean, they do. It's just, and be honest with you, if this one doesn't make it and he gets elected in 2020 for a second term, they'll try to impeach him for something else during that term as well.
Yeah, they already said that they were going to do that.
It's just because they don't like the guy. Because he doesn't follow the rules that they have set themselves up there in their little circle of Washington, D.C. He's not playing their game.
Hey, Donald Trump is the best thing that's happened to our country in any of our lifetimes. And they hate that because they were in the process of destroying it. And he's the lightning rod for all the people that don't want it destroyed. So
Yeah.
the fact that Make America Great Again is something that people actually believe that we need to do and we need to work toward, they can't stand that. Because it goes against the fundamental transformation of the United States that Hussein said that he was going to bring forth.
Yeah. I don't know. He is. I think he's really woken up America. He really has. But I mean, I guess the other side. I call him the other side. Believe he's the worst thing that's ever happened to America. And just like the Republicans or the conservatives, the Democrats, they have their diehards who are going to follow them and tick. Oh, and every time they go to vote, they just check the Democrat person on the ballot. Because they're just die hard that way, no matter what. So. But is the country divided? I think it is.
No.
You don't think so?
No. I think there's the political power that's divided in the public. Nancy Pelosi and Lindsey Graham might as well be best friends because they're on the same exact team. They just have a different approach. But as far as regular, everyday, the 300 million other Americans, I don't think we're nearly as divided as they want us to seem. Like I said, I've given homework assignment out for months now. Take a notepad with you and write down every instance of racism, hatred, bigotry, sexism, whatever kind of basket of deplorable stuff you can be accused of, and write it down each time you experience it in your life. And I bet 99.99% of the people will have an empty list at the end of the week.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't experienced it here. You know, now the only thing that I've experienced here is some of these old time farmers are racist. I mean, I remember my father telling me back in I can't remember, it was either late 40s, had to be in the 40s because he left there in the 50s to go join the Air Force. There was a black guy killed in a motor car accident, and they refused to bury him in the church graveyard. They wouldn't allow it. They just refused. So a farmer who owned the land next to the graveyard said, "You can bury him here next to the fence." And that's the closest you go. Now, actually, today, that the graveyard of the church has bought more land from that farmer who owned it, and now that grave is inside the church graveyard. Because it's still there. I mean, because it's one of the places I went to visit when I got here, because I remember the story. So some of the old timers are still that way here, and to be honest with you, I've heard a couple of them use the N word. No, I mean, yes, it's a what's the word? But the way they're using it, it's like everyday language to them. They don't. When they're saying it to each other, they're not. I don't know. I don't think they realize what they're saying because they've been doing it all their lives. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Oh, yeah, sure. There's. I'm not saying that there's no such thing as racism or hatred or bigotry, but it's a minuscule amount of the people in
oh
the
yeah,
country.
oh yeah. I'm just saying this is just one or two old timers who I see sitting in when I go down to Deb's Calf for truck stop for breakfast or lunch. If they're sitting in there, they don't do it every day, all day, but I've heard them a couple of times, saying it. So it's hey, Patrick said, what is it? It's because of your white privilege. That's why you've never seen it. Yeah, I guess so. Uh, no, New York Outcast said it makes sense to him. Well, I'm glad you do. I mean, luckily my father wasn't that way, you know. And I mean, and being a military brat like I was, and him being in the military, there was I don't know. It was just, hey, I didn't even pay attention to that kind of stuff when I was growing up. No, nor did my father. So it just, I find it strange. I'm not saying I haven't in the past said something in my youth that was wrong because I didn't know any better. Trying to be one of the crowd that I'm hanging out with and that kind of stuff. But nothing too serious, But what I'm saying, but like in England, this is mainly in England, there is a lot of Indians and Pakistanis there. Because they were allowed in because England ruled that country for years, and because of that, most of them are British citizens, and they were allowed to come to England. But as a kid, we used to call them Pakis. Now, that's terrible. But I don't do that anymore. But that's what they used to call them. So, and I didn't know any better. That's just the word I learned, and that's the way it was. But as I grew older, I understood what I was saying, and I stopped doing it because it wasn't right. So there we go. Anyway, I'm moving on. Let's get back onto some more topics here. What What have I got here? Oh yes, this is to do with you, Kingpin. I hear Baltimore is trying to do aerial surveillance of the city now.
Yeah, they're working on getting drones in the city. They've already got, and it's, believe me, it's just another way to corruptly skim money off the top because they've got the streetlight cameras, which when 10 years ago, when they started saying, hey, we're going to put these streetlight cameras out, they said that these cameras were so detailed that if you were standing underneath, if you were standing within video range of the camera, which is like a block, 2 blocks or something like that, they'd be able to read the lettering on your hat. Like if they were looking at you 2 blocks away, they'd easily be able to see every second matters on your hat. And one of the rules of thumb when you're hanging out in Baltimore City is if you're looking for trouble and you can't find it, go stand underneath of one of those blue flashing lights because that's where all the crime is at. It was just a huge waste of money, and it was propaganda that they were going to make the city safer. And everywhere you see one of those blue flashing lights, you're sure to find a drug dealer or a murderer or a pimp or a prostitute or something underneath one of those lights. It basically become a blue light special like Kmart.
Oh dear. Yeah. So I mean, I was reading that, and I'm thinking, the aerial surveillance. I mean, that's getting into it. I mean, it could be, I don't know, privacy issues and stuff like that. I don't know. But then again, I mean, people are using what do you call it? Like the drone things that you can buy and fly and film stuff from up high and all that kind of shit. You know? So
It's not going to have any significant effect whatsoever. Not at all. Zero.
the only thing I think it'd be good for their film and stuff is if they actually catch a crime happening and they got it recorded.
I just told you about the police cameras on top of the
Yeah,
streetlight.
I know you did. But I guess they're not.
Plus, they also have the gunshot technology. I think maybe like 5 years ago, they instituted the gunshot technology, which is technically supposed to be a microphone to where if a gunshot goes off northwest of the microphone, it'll be able to basically triangulate and say, okay, that gunshot came northwest from this position. And there's over 300 murders in the city, most of them unsolved.
I mean, and the time they triangled where the gunshot come from, it was all over, and the person had gone who'd done the shooting.
Well, Baltimore City's not a really. I can't. I could kind of, put New York and Boston and Los Angeles and some of the other big cities in there, but I know better about Baltimore. They know all the blocks that the people hang out on. It's not a big surprise where the crime syndicates, if you want to call them that, hang out and work. Even once a week, or it used to be once a week. Now it's back to like once a month. A cop will go sit on like the most popular heroin spot.
Yeah,
They'll park their car at the end of the block and just sit there all day. And then nobody will be on that block all day long. And then right after the police car drives away, everybody comes back to the block.
yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, I was reading something in the chat. That's why I had that break there. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I just don't live in a city, you know. But anyway, did you see that? I don't know if anybody noticed, but in the town, Westerly, Rhode Island, that little town I lived in for all those years, they had a shooting in the old people's home. I think the one dead, two wounded, and it was a 67-year-old guy, and they found him dead in his apartment. Shot himself in the head. So, and I'm getting texts from people that Stu talked to me through text and stuff like that, and I'm saying, I told you it could happen anywhere. I said, you all laughed at me because I concealed carried. I said, "Do you understand why now?" You know, and of course it's all they're all anti-gunners up there anyway, and they go, "Well, that wouldn't have helped." I said, "You could have still been shot." Yeah, I said, "Yeah, I could have been, but at least I could have died trying, not just standing there shivering, you know, in fear because I have no way to protect myself." So, there we go. Anyway, so a couple of them, when I said that to them, they didn't answer me, and I haven't heard from them for a couple of days now. uh,
Well, you can look at what's the case with the college student that got stabbed by those teenage kids in New York.
yeah,
There's a massive manhunt for a 14-year-old kid. Now, how hard could it be to find a 14-year-old kid that's wanted for murder? They posted his picture everywhere. This is a child. So there's either serious ineptability in the police department, or this 13-year-old has got one heck of a connection that's been able to hide him for the past couple of days. And his friend already snitched him out, so they know who they're looking for, but they can't. And this massive manhunt that they keep talking about, they can't find a child.
yeah, yeah. Maybe they don't want to find him. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's another one. Also, didn't they what was that latest thing? They rounded up all them MS-13 people, said they'd broken up 13 different sects or something.
Yeah, they had a pretty massive raid on the MS-13. Yeah,
Do you think it's going to make a difference to them?
so, for a small amount of time. Once again, coming from Maryland, Maryland is almost as far away from the border as you can get, and almost as far away from El Salvador as you can get in Honduras. And Maryland's had MS-13 members and gang problems for 20 years already. So it's not like they're working that hard. And once again, thanks to the Trump administration, more people are aware of it, and actually things are getting done.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's done. I mean, back to that, he's done more. I mean, how? What I don't understand is because of their hatred. But look at the country. I mean, the stock exchange is higher than it's ever been. Unemployment's down. You know, some people have got pay raises. They got more, more money and stuff.
Well, that's exactly why they hate him. And once again, I say it all the time. It's not that they hate him, it's they hate you, Rick, because you're making this possible. Just because Donald Trump got elected president doesn't mean all these wonderful things were going to start happening. Donald Trump got elected president, and everybody said, we're going to take our country back. And they hate him because the stock market is up, because wages are up, because unemployment's down. Because when all those things are in positive areas, you need the government less. They hate him because they're getting rid of MS-13, who they let run the streets rampant and disrupt all this everyday life. Look at all the pedophile rings that have been busted under the Trump administration, and no one talks about it. Roseanne brought it up. Trump, during the beginning of the summer, they had the largest pedophile ring bust in the country's history, and nobody reported on it. And when Roseanne reported on it, people started calling her QAnon and saying she was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right there. He's done a lot of fighting of crime since he's been in there. But then again, they're New York State is now illegal immigrants can get a driving license.
Yep. They've been able to get licenses here, bank accounts here, and can vote in local elections here in certain counties.
To see that to me, that is totally wrong.
One of the counties that they're allowed to vote in locally is called Montgomery County, and in September they arrested 9 people, and then a week. If you add a week to September, they had 11 arrests of illegal immigrants for rape or some type of other sexual crime, and all but I think one was against children. and that's the county that they want illegal immigrants to vote in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, what gets me now, say you're an illegal immigrant, you're in New York, you go get your license. Then you decide to move, say, here to another state. You know, you go into that state's DMV to get your license changed to whatever state you're in's license. Then, of course, when you're filling out the forms, you want to be an organ donor? Yes, no. You want to register to vote while you're here? You tick yes, and then now they can vote in that state. It's it just ain't right. I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. And another thing I think there are a lot of people are going apeshit over is Virginia and the rest of the country. The 2A sanctuary county, cities, towns, or whatever they have. They're saying you can't do that. That's illegal. But they have sanctuary cities for illegal immigrants. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
The biggest problem with the Virginia thing specifically is the Democrats haven't moved into office yet. They're a Democrat elect. They're waiting to have the old people move out and then move in. And as soon as they do that, they're going to rescind every single one of those county sanctuary bills. So it's going to have to, the fight's going to have to start completely over because the Democrats are going to go in and rescind it all. And then the people are going to have to stand up and fight again.
Yep. Yeah, and also, how often does Virginia vote? Every 2 years? For their Senate and their House, for the state I'm talking about. I don't know how many years does one of the representatives get in Virginia?
I'm pretty sure it's the same as all the other ones,
Yeah.
I think it's, what is it, 2 years, every 2 years in the Senate or the House, and then
it's every 2 years in the federal Senate.
Federal,
yeah. And it's 6 years in the Senate.
I would assume that it's probably the same, but I've never actually looked into that, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's I just happened to catch before we went live. A train derailed in West Virginia into the river, into the Potomac River.
Oh wow!
They were empty grain cars, but somehow it derailed going over the bridge, and two of them fell into the near Harper's Ferry. Oh, I thought, I'm glad there was nothing dangerous there. I just happened to notice that before I just came live. I was doing it. Also, you see that I found this. In Fresco, California, the shop owner fatally shoots 2 people. The third one's still out there, and they're trying to find him. And I was reading the article. From what they said, they went into the store. The owner was outside. The owner went into the store to see what was happening. And I guess they opened fire on him. So he opened fire back at him and he killed him and stuff. But what surprised me about California, at the bottom, the police chief said there will probably be no charges brought against the shop owner, which is strange because California normally try to get them for breaking the law, for shooting somebody and all that kind of shit. So I'm amazed how, because normally they would have, said normally they would say, we're looking into, that they wouldn't commit that that the shooter would not be charged, or the defend, what do you call him, the shooter or defendant or the victim? The victim, that's the best word.
Yeah.
The victim wouldn't be charged. Normally, they don't say that in California. They always leave it open. So,
did you see the picture of the guy inside the supermarket taking a dump in aisle 4?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in San Francisco, but I know it's in California somewhere. Somebody just took a picture of some dude dropping trowel right in the middle of the grocery store.
Get arrested?
I doubt it.
I doubt it, because then the Supreme Court did not refuse to look at a case or something about arresting people who camp on sidewalks or something.
Well, the thing, you would think that, once one of these liberals has their children infected by bubonic plague, because, yeah, it's not hyperbolic, they have actual concerns about the Black Plague coming back in California right now.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
When one of their children die of it, they're not going to be like, oh my gosh, we got to clean up the streets. Look at what we've done. They're going to say, look at what these conservative Republicans have forced us into. If they would just give all these people, affordable housing.
Yeah.
And then when you say to them, well, homeless crackheads on the street, affordable housing isn't their problem. That's not why they're on the street, because they can't afford a house. They're on the street because they spend all their money on crack.
You're right. And of course, and if this happens during Trump's term, it's Trump's fault too. But I mean, I'm stealing this from a radio show, but you show me a city ran by Democrats. Now I bet you it's in decay and it's been run by Democrats for years and years and years. So I mean, Chicago's run by Democrats. Those big cities in California are run by Democrats. Baltimore's Democrat too, isn't it? So any city in decay, it's been run by Democrats for eons and eons.
Yeah, Baltimore's definitely a Democrat city. I sent you that link, Squibby. Yeah, I just sent him another one, so check your email there, Squid.
I don't know what happened to maybe the email didn't go out. I don't know. It looked like it went out. I checked my send folder, and it shows it went out. So it more like it show up after the show's over.
Right.
There he is. How you doing, Squid?
There's Squibby.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. What's happening, Squid?
How's it going? Hey, I watched your video on your wild turkey and your coffee. But I don't know.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Man, hey, it was one of your better videos on coffee. What were you doing? Your coffee, what's the word I'm looking for? Review.
What, the flavored creamer?
Well, yeah, the way you done it, and it was better than normally. But I think you should have left your camera running before we could have heard your wife laughing.
No. She waited until I hit stop to start laughing at me. So she's a team player.
No. Yeah. Oh, did you film that on your phone?
Yeah, I used Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. That's what I'm on right now.
Yeah, because what I was going to say is when I watched it, I brought up YouTube, clicked on your thing, and it showed your location.
Oh no, I put that in the tags when I go ahead and fill out all the description, all that. It lets me put in the recording date and the location. The thing is, the date I publish it is not the recording date. So, but I do record all that. I put down because some stuff is 6 months or a year old, and I don't know if there's a way to dig in there for somebody viewing to go, oh, he shot this back in May or whatever it was. So,
yeah. Oh, okay.
But now Patriot made some comments about it. About using flavored creamer and about, instead of shooting a video with wild turkeys in the background, putting wild turkey in my coffee. So that's why I decided to do both in one video, because of him.
Yeah. Where is he, by the way? He wasn't in last. Maybe he didn't get an invite either. Maybe I need to send him one. Maybe I need to do it separately. So, let me do this. I mean, it's hard for me to walk and chew gum at the same time. So if there's a couple of yeah, there he is. There he is. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Do I still have the link there? Yes. All right. I sent him a personal email to get his butt in here in case the other one didn't arrive. So what? Oh, I know what I was going to ask you guys. What do you think? Should I do a show on Christmas Day evening? Because it's Wednesday. I said I wasn't going to do one, but then I was thinking at 7 o'clock, will you guys want one, or will you still be with family and stuff?
I'll be at home. I could probably jump on for a little bit. Don't know if I could be on for a whole hour, but I could probably, because I got to be into work the next morning, and I might have some more of that wild turkey on Christmas. So,
yeah.
Squib drunk live on air would be absolutely worth not missing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we had I mean, he doesn't come in these shows anymore, but Tony, we had him on here drunk one time.
Yeah, but Tony hadn't had anything to drink, I think, in decades or whatever, and then I think that's why it hit him so hard. But he was hilarious.
He was,
and I quote, Rick.
Yeah.
Rick.
Yeah, and he was doing it to Squib too. Squib. Oh, that was hilarious. So, all right, you guys got anything you want to talk about while we're here? Before I go on to last week's winner, to the quiz?
I'm going to search for a link, so I'll have a topic after you do this.
All right. Last week, Mike, for my, let's see, hang on a minute. No, that's this week's. It's all in the box, ready to go. It was stickers, and there's a cup thing. One of these wristbands, hashtag pro gun as F. And then I got some patches in here and all kinds of goodies. So that was the prize for this week. And it wasn't a hard question. And to be honest with you, I only had 3 entries. So, but the question was on Patriot in the Dark's Second Amendment Rally online video. I wanted to know what firearm he had in the bottom right corner. And the answer was a Colt 1911 New Agent compact 3-inch barrel and 45 ACP. That was the answer. I said I only had 3 entries. So and that was John Brown Productions, Kingpin, and Serena. That was it. Oh, and I did have one other, and they got it wrong. So I didn't enter him. So let me hit my draw now button. And it's John Brown Productions is the winner. So there we go.
Rigged.
Yeah, it is. I was hoping you didn't enter Raphael. I was hoping that Sabrina would have won, but there we go. Mind you, I would have to send it to the Netherlands. All right, this week's prize it's the same. It's the same thing. It's a swag pack, stickers. I got the "Don't Tread on Me" thing. I got Alan Anchor, her a couple of patches in there of hers, and stuff like that. So that's the prize for this week. And because he's a very popular guy, No, it wasn't you two live mode that got it wrong. You didn't enter. The question for this week's quiz, mail-in quiz, by the way, so don't go answering it in the chat. The question is, it's another Patriot in the Dark question. He's a very popular guy. When you watch his videos and in his closing credits, how many shots are fired? That is I want to know how many shots are fired in his closing credits on Patriot in the Dark's videos. Email me at Rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Get them into me by 12 noon Eastern time next Saturday, and you're being in the running for a prize. So there we go. Okay, there we go. Did you have a link all set up or a question, Kingpin?
No, I'm having trouble finding it on the internet, but it's from Tucker Carlson's show last night, and he's talking about the censorship and the left's attack on censorship. And I'm definitely happy to say, unfortunately, that you can't trust the Republicans either. And he does a big report on a bunch of conservative politicians and conservative lobbyists that are pushing for and supporting different types of censorship. So when YouTube comes out and says, hey, you can't show guns anymore, and we think, oh, the left is coming after our guns. No, it's some of the conservatives as well. And the reason that I bring it up is since we're in a tipping point right here where either we're going to go leftist in this country or we're going to get back to actual standards that our founding was built on. If these Republicans happen to sweep through and get huge victories and take over the House and control the Senate and keep the presidency, we need to keep the fire on twice as hard on the right, or the Republicans or the conservatives or whatever you want to call it, twice as hard as we ever have against the left.
Oh, because absolutely. I mean, and that's what happened the first 2 years of Trump's term, is because you had Paul, what was his name, Paul Ryan?
Uh-huh.
I mean, he was against Trump.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was still there. He would be one that would want these censorships and shit. You know, it was, and that's, I mean, that's what hurt us on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, if we don't hold them accountable for every single letter that they write down, every single word that they speak, then it's just going to be, business as usual, and nothing's going to change.
Absolutely. So that's right. You can't just rely on them to get the stuff done. You got to keep, I mean, it's not only with Second Amendment stuff, but with anything to do with our lives, our freedoms, is we got to, because they work for us. We the people is what it says. That's what the Constitution opens with, isn't it? We the people, and all those politicians, even though they think they're in charge, they're not. They actually work for us. So we got to hold them responsible.
And a real quick thought on term limits. I know some people aren't a fan of term limits because, they think, well, if Rick is doing such a good job in 4 years, well, he needs another 2 years to get his plan going through. So we need to be able to reelect him. I think that's a flawed way of thinking, because if Rick has got a good plan and he's got a good team behind him and he's executing good principles and policies, then Rick should also be grooming the next candidate to come in behind him and keep it going. We don't need the same person. If the same person is as good as people think and want to keep reelecting them to 35 years in Congress, then you should have trained other people to come up behind you and take the mantle forward.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you too on term limits. I mean, a career politician, you just think about those two words, a career politician, shouldn't be together. There shouldn't be a career as a senator or a career as a representative. That wasn't what it was meant to be designed for. It was meant for, as you said, say I got elected to the House of Representatives, I go up there, do my thing for 1 or 2 terms, then I come back to Indiana and take up where I left off. That was how it was meant to work. Not for me, my entire life, 30 years working up there in the representative, then get me a nice fat retirement check from them.
Well, what that does is it puts you straight in the crosshairs of all the policies that you've implemented over the past 4 to 6 years. And when you have a career politician, look at Obamacare. Not one single government official has to have Obamacare. None. But they passed it and make me, you, Squib, Jason, everybody else have to sign up for it. Sean Connery has to sign up for it. But they don't have to. And if you kick them out of the government and then they go back into the regular general population, then they have to be subject to all the laws and rules and regulations that they passed while they were in office. Once again, a famous thing, one of the things that we talk about all the time. If Nancy Pelosi's got the finest armed security with her at all times, when she goes back to being a civilian, she's going to have to pay for that herself, or figure, man, maybe I shouldn't have had so many restrictions on people conceal carrying firearms to defend themselves. Or even not even to defend themselves. This is the United States. You carry a gun just because you like the way it feels on your hip. You don't need a reason to carry a gun. This is America.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, to me, if you want to walk down the street, looking like a cowboy with a gun, with a Weston rig on, got your single action 45 in there, do it. You should be allowed to without any problems. I feel. So you're right. But will she have to pay for that protection, or will they grant it to her like they do the president and stuff like that? When a president gets that term, he has the protection for the rest of his life.
Well, yeah, because they were the president of the United States. The president and the Speaker of the House are vastly different people. And I'm not one of those kind of people that think that the president shouldn't have more security, because nobody wants to kidnap you, Rick.
You're right. I mean, the president.
Everybody who hates the president has a reason, whether they're Russians or Afghanis or just crappy liberals, to go after the president. So, of course, you want to make sure that the president, even when they're not in office, has security.
Oh, yeah. I mean, also, because they're privileged to stuff that we never hear about. Also, that somebody might want to kidnap them and try to extract that from them and that kind of stuff, too.
Sean Connery put out in the chat, he said, there's no difference between allowing a person you like and choose without a limit and programming a puppet to continue what you're already doing. So what's his answer? Because obviously not having term limits isn't working. We see what endless terms have got us. So what, are we just going to stay with this way because that's the way it is? What would his answer be to root out this corruption?
Now, let's see if he answers you. I mean, right now he says Pelosi, she's protected behind the high walls and countless empty bottles she drank out of her vineyard. Yeah, she was slurring her words the other day. Either that was her. I think that she's got Parkinson's myself, because she shakes a lot. And if she has, I'm sorry for her if she has, but or she's drunk when she talks like she does sometimes. All right. What? Oh, here you go. Easy. Stop a dual party system, Sean says.
Yeah, okay. The 7 million party system seems to work really well in all those European countries.
Yeah. Hey, good example. England, Great Britain. right? They have, I think it's technically four. I think they have sort of like the libertarian thing. Actually, they have more than that. But the main three are conservatives, which are like Republicans. Then you have the Labor Party, which are like the Democrats. Then you have the liberals, which are liberal. Right now, what happens is a lot of times when it comes, their voting system's weird over there, but a lot of times, say the conservatives have the majority, don't have the majority, but they have more seats. But to form a government, I get confused on how it works. But to form a government, they have to sort of like go to the liberals and say, we'll give you, you'll have seats. You'll be some of the ministers of my cabinet if you guys come along with us. So two parties will be ruling the country, and it never works because they break down because there's always some conflict that hurries up. It doesn't work well when they do that. That's the problem with when you have too many parties out there. I mean, yes, it'd be great if there was, say, I don't know. Do we need a third party?
I'm definitely open to the third party. I'm not against the third party. Maybe
Yeah, I'm not against it, but good example. Back when the old timers remember him, Perot ran. That's why Clinton won. Because people who would have voted for the Republican voted for him instead. Voted for the Perot, which took the votes away, and that's how Clinton won.
And I'm actually kind of okay with that because Ross Perot was the one and only viable third party candidate that we've ever had.
Who?
Ross Perot.
Yeah.
None of these third party, no third party candidates since Ross Perot has actually been viable. And, the only way that a third party candidate's ever going to become viable is not by voting for them. You've got to campaign for them. And you got to go out and do some grassroots work and like introduce people to them and their ideas and all that kind of stuff, because they don't have the money to put TV ads up and newspaper ads and go campaign and do rallies and all that kind of stuff. So if you find somebody that's a good third party candidate, it's up to you to promote them and get people out there understanding who they are and what they stand for.
Yeah, see what Sean wrote? Failure of third parties is twofold. You have the system that disallows them in debates, and you have small parties going straight for the White House without earning national trust at local levels.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. And nobody promotes them. Nobody's out there with a big campaign rally for Gary Johnson or Jill Stein.
Yeah, it can't work at 3. It has to be 4+. That way, one third party doesn't simply weaken the two established parties. Yeah, you're right.
Well, and the third parties have to not. Right now, the vast majority of your third party candidates are just Democrats. If you really want to break it down, it's just another Democrat party. So they have to distinguish themselves from the other two parties. That's not our responsibility. They have to come to me and say, here's my plan, and convince me to go out and tell you guys about it.
Yeah. Now, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a libertarian who's running, in 2020 for the White House. And one of his main things is he's going to give everybody a pony. And let's get serious. And you expect us to vote for you.
Just like that idiot. I just said his name. Gary Johnson. His big campaign promise was that he wasn't going to smoke weed while he was in the White House.
Yeah, and you expect people to vote for you. So, but why we have the two-party system, we have to have term limits. That's the only way around it, I think. They shouldn't. It's we the people, right? You've got I mean, you got these senators. Take Mitch McConnell, Republican, or the leader of the opposition. What's his name? Oh, God. What's the Democratic senator? Schumer, right? They have been in there for years and years and years and years. Now, are they campaigning back at home, or people just voting them in because they're too lazy to do anything else? Oh, they've been doing it. Just vote them in again.
And that kind of leads to what Sean was talking about, the corruption of that powerful fist. Nobody can run against Chuck Schumer because Chuck Schumer won't allow it. You know, they finagled things and gerrymandered things and worked districts out so that nobody else could stand a chance. And they've been there so long, they've got everybody in their pocket, and they've got handshakes and dirty deals done with everybody in the country to get their seats back.
Here's a question for you from Sean. I got a better question. Who or what branch has the legal right to expel a party as a criminal organization? How can I mean?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, what party would you call criminal? They're all criminal.
Yep.
You know? I mean, even now, all this harassment, impeachment of Trump. You heard the latest from Pelosi, why she's holding this impeachment up. Because she wants certain guarantees from the Senate that they're going to do this in this trial. If they do that, then sure release the impeachment over to the Senate. Isn't that whatever they called it?
Yeah, of course it is. Plus, I mean, she's asking for a fair trial in the Senate.
Yeah.
When the entire time it was in the House, everybody was screaming about how unfair it is. And they didn't care.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's doing exactly what they said Trump was doing with the Ukraine phone call.
Well, she's doing exactly what her voting base is going to let her get away with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's great. It's great that everybody's in an uproar about, the attack on the Second Amendment. But let's not forget what they did to Brett Kavanaugh. Let's not forget Stormy Daniels. Let's not forget Russian collusion. Let's not forget Nick Salmon. Let's not forget everybody that's been banned from Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and all these other things. There's more stuff that these politicians and government officials are doing to spark a boogaloo than just threatening to take our guns away from us. We need to hold them accountable. And if the Democrats aren't held accountable for this whole impeachment scam and this entire last 12 years of Democrat power, from Obama until the beginning of where we're at in Trump's administration, if they don't get held accountable, why would they stop?
They won't stop because nobody's holding their feet to the fire. Even this last the IG report. Nobody got in trouble. Comey wasn't a bad boy. Yes, he done things wrong, but they worded it in such a way that he's walking around in retirement, making millions, writing a goddamn book. Well,
I mean, we've all heard it our entire lives. Jim Comey's going to get away with treason, and if you throw a piece of trash on the ground, you're going to get a $2,000 fine and a year in jail.
Oh, absolutely, yes, and that is what the country is sick of. But it's not changing because DC is in their own little bubble there, and they can do what they like. It's and to crack into that system is hard. It's us against them.
Well, yeah, and like I said, they're all on the same team. I don't know if people know Fuzzfork. I don't have his link right now, or I'd put it in the chat. But Fuzzfork put out a video the other day talking about like the Bilderbergs and all these other secret societies, I guess you'll call, that all of these people are members of. So it's like the Wile E. Coyote and the sheepdog. they walk up to the time clock together with their arms around each other, talking about how's your family and what'd you bring for lunch, and you sure look good today. And then when they punch in, they start punching each other in the face and blowing each other up with rockets. And then at the end of the day, they punch out and say, "Okay, Charles, I'll see you tomorrow, man. Have a good day." And that's exactly what happens in Washington. They turn on the television and they spit and fight and scream at each other. And then as soon as the cameras are off, they're like, "Hey, let's go get lunch."
Oh, yeah. I was saying that the other day to Sean when we were watching the what you call it, the farce of that thing. I said, they're all yelling at each other. They're breaking for lunch. I bet you they're all down the bar there eating, having a beer and eating a sandwich together, laughing and joking, Yeah. So, I don't know. Anyway, Squib, you're very quiet. Any input on any of this?
I did one of those, I jumped onto the show, but I'm preoccupied thing, which I really don't like when other people do it. It's like, dude, why'd you jump on the show? But here I am doing it. I'm not preoccupied now, so I've only heard bits and pieces that, and I had to keep minimizing the screen. And are you on the duck?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the duck, if you minimize the screen so you can't accidentally bump the mute button, it starts going nuts, and you've got to maximize screen, then minimize it again. And so I've only caught bits and pieces, but I'm back.
Yeah, I was just trying to duck this week. I don't know
look,
why. I'm just trying. I mean, I like the idea that that I can put up people's stuff, like that and that kind of stuff on the screen.
I like GunTube Chamber better, but GunTube Chamber isn't reliable enough that it works all the time. So I understand why some people go to StreamYard. Yeah. But I mean, it's your show. You use whatever you're going to use. If I don't like it, I'll start my own show. But I haven't done that, have
I? No. You're right. So I was just trying this, just using this one again, just to see, what do people prefer, this or gun chambers or whatever?
I prefer the chamber, but there are times where it just doesn't work for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of the chambers because, I mean, like there's only 3 of us here, so it's not a problem here. But if you want more, you can't have more than 6.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't like about it.
Yeah.
I know you guys were talking politics, and usually anything David says about politics, I either agree with or I don't think he's wrong, but I don't agree, but I don't think he's wrong either, if that makes any sense. But so I know he's been holding down the fort. If you've got him on a show about politics, he's usually got a good point.
Oh yeah. He has there. So anything going on that you want to talk? Oh, I know. With Christmas coming up, if anybody wants to send me a Christmas present, Dave's Gun Shop in Holland, Indiana, does gift cards. Just saying. That was my little laugh there. Sorry about that. But I just want to say this. I mean, I more than likely will come on Christmas Day, but I'm not promising. I'll send out the links, when I do it, and see who shows up. It might only be for a half hour. It depends how many people are here. So, as far as I know, I don't have anything family going on in the evening, so I should be able to do it. But was it 4 days to Christmas now? Today's the 21st.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got all your decorations up?
Yeah, that's what that bottle of wild turkey was for. My wife loves that stuff, and I think it's good that she does. She doesn't decorate as much as she used to, so that's a sign of the things to come. And we know that when we get older, it's probably just not going to be, unless we have grandkids come over, we're probably not going to decorate or something. But it's just a pain for me. It's really a bigger pain taking it all down, really. Maybe that's why it's a pain putting it up, because you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Sean has a extremely important question out there in the chat, which I think we have to. Yep, there it is.
Yeah. How come the new M&P 9 Easy not get a pimp gun option? You're absolutely right, Because if it had a pimp option, I might be tempted to order one. You know, I'll get one in the silver this time. You know, so
I have to wait until Maryland approves it since it's a new gun, which could take forever, up to a year. It all depends when. I don't really want to get into the intricacies of our gun list, but if I can get it in a reasonable time, I'd rather have the performance center one, but I'd probably buy one of those 9mm.
yeah. So Maryland has a gun list like California.
Yeah, there's certain rifles that are just outright banned. Probably the most easy to recognize would be the M&P Sport AR because it doesn't offer a heavy barrel. It only comes in, I guess, the pencil barrel or the light barrel. And Maryland has a requirement for all rifles to come with a heavy barrel. And then we have a registry list, which isn't a de facto ban, it's a de facto delay. So Easy just came out with their new 9mm. And if Smith and Wesson didn't send the specs and everything to the state of Maryland and say, hey, we got a new gun coming out, we want to sell it in your state, then it'd be up to me to say, hey, Maryland, I saw a new gun out there. Here's the information on it. Could you review it? And once a month they get together and review all the new firearms that have come out or all the firearms that are on their list. So if Smith and Wesson doesn't do it and I don't do it, then it just happens to be whenever they get around to it. So if they never get around to looking at that specific gun, it'll never be for sale in Maryland. Not that you can't own it here, you just can't buy it here and they can't sell it here.
Okay. Oh, I had to shovel my to-do list out of the way when I heard Yankee announce they are new Colt Pythons coming. Yeah, but they're not releasing them until January at SHOT Show. I guess they don't want the Christmas business.
Now, are those the ones that have the trench sights, or are those the ones that have like standard sights on them?
Well, the Colt Pythons that are coming out, I don't know.
I'm not a fan of the trench sight revolvers. I like standard sights.
You're talking about where it's just a groove cut in the top of the gun?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it'll have probably have a rib barrel like the original one. It should have a front notch that's got a colored insert in it, and then a black square, maybe adjustable, depending on what sort of model they've got. But any of the Colt revolvers I've shot, they're the older ones, obviously. The sights were really spot on. They weren't just a notch and lining up the back of the hammer with the front of the gun or something. So I think you're thinking of sights that are maybe on some less expensive guns or guns that maybe they don't want anything sticking out so they don't snag, or like on older guns like on a single action army or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. I know I was at the Great Outdoors show, the one that you couldn't make because you had vehicle trouble. And Midnight Range was showing me around, and we got looking at some of the Pythons, and they had the trench sights in them, and I just didn't like it. It's the first time I had any experience with it, and it just really wasn't my thing.
Yeah. Sean says here, wager there's an LPA sight for the rear. So.
And remind me at the end of the show, Squibby, I got a question for you about Colt Navies.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And Patrick wants me to wave a gun on the screen to test out the new rules. Yeah. You're all trying to get me in trouble.
So they would have to have a human being watching the show, because a bot wouldn't know the difference between you holding up an 8x10 glossy and the actual gun, would it?
No. You're right.
So one of your viewers out there, however many viewers you got right now, is somebody at YouTube. Hi, YouTube.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, I think it's a stupid rule, but yeah, you got to follow them. Yeah. You got to play the game if you want to keep. And right now, as much as we hate it, YouTube is still the big boy on the block.
Yep.
You know. Oh,
This is America. You know, we have the whole capitalist invention kind of mentality, where if you want it, somebody will create it, or if it can be thought up, somebody will figure out a way to make it and get it out to the common man or woman, who will be PC. And this is just something where YouTube and Google and Facebook have just dominated, and there really doesn't seem to be a whole lot of anybody else out there trying.
yeah, I agree with you. It's just the way it is. So we got to. I mean, that's like a good example. Is as much as we hate to say it, I mean that's like the NRA. It's to the even in the eyes of the media and the government, they're still the big boy in town. You know, but I got a letter from him the other day, personally signed by Wayne, by the way. You know, it was written by somebody else, and of course, it's a manufacturer's signature. But saying we've noticed that you haven't what's called it your membership. I haven't because it's due. It's not due until the end of February, is when my membership runs out. But they're already hassling me. They've been hassling me for the last year to do my membership. And I said, hell, I ain't doing it. I'm still haven't decided whether I'm going to do it come February, because I'm waiting to see what the NRA does, see if it gets any better.
Mine runs out in January, and I usually renew it at the gun show, so I get free admission, or I'll renew it at Bass Pro Shop, and then they give me a gift card, so that kind of offsets the cost. But if they're not having a membership drive at Bass Pro, or they're not having the antique arms show in January before it runs out, then I'll just go online and do it.
So I mean, as I said before, I don't like what's going on, but there is some good stuff that the NRA does. I said this before. I mean, they when I was in Rhode Island, they gave the club I belonged to $1,500 for targets and stuff to help, bring in the, like the Boy Scouts and stuff like that, youth groups in there to shoot and stuff. That kind of stuff is what it should be all about. That part of the NRA I like, and I wish you could designate where your money went to when you sent in your membership. But they just take it and it all goes to Wayne. That's what I find upsetting. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I still got a month and a half to really think about it, if I'm going to join or not. I mean, I've joined. I'm also a member of the Second Amendment Foundation. So what it's called? The one. I'm a member of that one. So. Oh, I see. Real quick before we close, the Firearms Coalition is taking the Attorney General, and is it the governor of the state or the mayor for making 80% lowers illegal in state, making them a firearm. And you got to, if you want to buy an 80% lower in Pennsylvania, or is it just in the city? I think it's the whole state. You've got to run a background check on it.
Yeah, if you go check out Black Cat Outdoors channel, he did a video about it the other day, and he links to the actual legal paperwork or whatever that the guy Josh Shapiro wrote, and he also links to Josh Shapiro's email or website or whatever. So whether or not you live in the state or not, go check out that link and send Mr. Shapiro an email and just try to show him in the most positive and respectful way that he's making a big mistake.
Yeah, he is. And another thing too, also, I mean, take the thing in Virginia, right? Don't think it can't happen to you that, oh, we're the best gun friendly state there is. It's never going to happen. So was Virginia. You know, they're talking. What they're saying now is I think Kentucky's going to go that way. That's scary because that state is. I mean, I'm only about 50 miles away from. Is it Louisville, Kentucky? I'm closer to there than I am to Indianapolis, Indiana, and that makes it awful close to what happens of Kentucky. Then the Democrats in Indiana start trying to do it. You know, it's a scary thought. So you got to keep an eye on that stuff. Don't sit back on your ass. Pay attention to what's going on. That's what you were saying earlier, Kingpin. Not only at the federal level, at your local level, you got to keep your eye on them. Not just for 2A stuff, but for, as Patriot would say, you know, your freedom, your liberties that we're not entitled to, which is our right that's been given to us. You know, and the Bill of Rights says, you know, tells us that. You know, but they're infringing on them all the way. Not only the second, they're infringing on them all. They want to do censorship now. You know, so that goes against the First Amendment right there. You know, all other kinds of stuff. I mean, we know about red flag laws go against, you know, due process is the biggest one. And there's I mean, I was looking down in Florida. They done what 3,000 red flag law things, seizing guns and everything else. Oh, I just saw a headline. I happened to click on the link. New Zealand's claiming that 50,000 of those assault rifles are being turned in the state in the country of New Zealand. And they forked out millions, about $66 million American, equivalent in New Zealand dollars, you know, for where they buy them. But they said there's still a bunch that will not turn them in that have hit them. But they feel if everybody turns them in, the country would be safer because the police, I think it was the head of police chief or whatever it is in New Zealand, says most criminals steal these guns from law-abiding citizens. So if the law-abiding citizens don't have guns, the criminals can't get them. That's what he said.
That's a good argument for banning everything because most criminals steal stuff from people who bought that stuff legally. Whether it's a pack of gum, a car, an airplane, or a gun. You know, some regular everyday Joe Schmo worked hard, saved his money or her money, and went to a store and responsibly, legally bought whatever product we're talking about. And then some filthy low-life scum came along and stole it from them.
Yeah, you're right. I can see that. I mean, they're starting with that. I can see New Zealand. There was also mentioned in that article that they're looking at more gun control in New Zealand. You know, all over that one shooting. Yes, it was massive. It was terrible. But, you know, they're, I mean, that's.
Bank robbers don't go into the bank to steal calendars and toasters.
No.
So let's ban the banks because, you know, there wouldn't be any bank robbers if there weren't banks.
You're right. Now, there was a particular weapon that the criminals wanted, and you took them away from all the law-abiding citizens, so there wouldn't be any to steal. The criminal would have them shipped in, black market-wise. You know what I'm saying? Underground stuff. Smuggle them in. That's what I'm looking for. Would smuggle them into the country.
Come on, Rick. That's absolutely ridiculous type of thinking. You know that all the heroin, all the crack, and all the marijuana that's people use illegally in New Zealand are all grown right there in New Zealand. There is no imports. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're doing illegal drugs, buy American.
That's
Keep the
right.
money here. That's
Yeah.
just it, though. It's something that we haven't seen a lot of, or a lot of it reported. But at some point, they're going to say, well, all of these fully automatic weapons and RPGs and plastic explosive and armor-piercing bullets and everything else are coming across the border from Mexico. And then we're going to be there. Yeah, you took away our guns, so we can't defend ourselves. The bad guys are getting worse guns than you ever wanted them to have, or more deadly, or whatever the hell they want to label them with, right? And, oh, by the way, you didn't put up the wall like we asked, so it's really easy for them to just bring them in. So, I mean, could you just, for just a second, just slow down, dump your liberal BS, and just listen to what we're saying? Nope, not going to happen. Not going to happen.
No, you're right. New York Outcast said they're going to ban legal drugs because the junkies love robbing old people. Yeah. I didn't realize it till I got up into the disabled and the old age stuff. I mean, really, I'm 62. So a youngster, that is old. When you get to 62, it's not old. But I'm in that category now, and I've noticed that as I said before, that's why I carry, because I feel vulnerable. Is that the word I'm looking for? When I'm out there nowadays, I really do. Even out here in the middle of nowhere. Like today, I walked out to my mailbox, and I saw this white pickup truck down the road. I get my mail out of the mailbox, come walking up my driveway, and I saw out of the corner of my eye, it started creeping along slowly, and it actually stopped right there on my driveway. And I didn't know who it was. And so I'm thinking, what in the hell is this going on? But it was just somebody asking if I knew where somebody lived. But I couldn't help them because I don't know anybody around here. But I didn't have my EZ on me, but I had my little Magnum 22 in my pocket, and my hand was on it. So that's what I carry when I'm just hanging out here. When I'm not going anywhere, I just wear these old shirts, and I wear shorts all the time. And I carry my my North American Arms 22 Magnum in my pocket. So tiny little gun, single action, but I have something on me. The reason I carry it mainly is like when I go outside. There's a couple of dogs across the way. There's like a couple of 100 yards. But when I drive by there, you can see them. They're mean. They look German Shepherd mix, but they look. They're barking, and they've got loose a couple of times, and they just come tearing up on people, scaring the shit out of them. I love dogs, but if a dog tries to bite me, I'll shoot the damn shit, stop him. I'm getting old. So there we go. Oh yeah, be careful with things like that, Rick. Keep an eye out now. Oh yeah, I'm going to. The other day I had knock on my door. The what's the word for him? Like the game warden. They don't call them game wardens here in Indiana.
DNR.
Yeah. I was just sitting there watching TV, and there's bang, bang, bang on my door. I was like, what the fuck? So I had been out that day, so I was still wearing my my 380. So I actually had it in my hand when I opened the door. My arm and my hand was behind the door, so he couldn't see it. I didn't realize who it was till and I thought, yeah, he was looking for. He said, "There's what's called it some name he gave me. Live here." I said, "No." He said, "I didn't think so." He said, "He's given us the wrong address." Sorry to bother you, and off he walked. But out in the middle of nowhere, it could still happen. So when I saw who it was, I thought, "Oh my God, the police are here! They're here to somebody's red flagged me." So there we go. That's it. I'm going to wind this up. It's 4:30. Unless you guys want to talk about something else. Jason said they were scoping you out, Rick. I don't know. They could have been, but I'm ready for them. I got my, I know I ache and pain and it hurts and shit, but I've got my, in my bedroom, I have my, my Maverick 88 12 gauge pump shotgun sitting there. I sleep with my, my 380 EZ on the sideboard of my bed, because that's where it sits. Unless I'm carrying it.
You don't put it on the pillow next to you and tuck it in?
No, but it's close.
Read it a bedtime story.
It's close. I use it for a night light because those sights on it glow at nighttime, really bright. It's amazing. So I keep that there. Then I said, I've always got this 22 in my pocket too, so I'm ready. Plus every gun in my cabinet here is loaded. There's not one in the chamber, but they're all loaded. All the magazines are loaded. So I got those, except the only 38 special I have, that one's loaded. So that one's not sitting on an empty chamber. That one's fully loaded. So I'm ready if anybody's going to come. Hopefully I can do something. Oh, Jason says the cut of the week. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm trying to think. What can I do? I'm trying to think real quick. Trying to think. What can we talk about? Oh yes, chicken breasts, boneless chicken breasts. Now, either you do it or get your butcher to do it. Is when you buy them, because it's thick at one end and thin the other. And so cooking wise, it's very difficult to cook to get it just right. Best way to do it is put your hand on top of it, take your knife and slice it to butterfly it open. Or you can slice it all the way through and give you 2 pieces, but just butterfly it, which makes it thinner. And so when you throw it on the grill or however you do it, it cooks more evenly. That's what I do when I get chicken breasts. Now if you get the bone in one, the full thing is, thing that is to cook them. And chicken, you got to cook all the way through, but don't overdo it because you're going to dry it out. But I prefer using boneless chicken. Even down to I prefer boneless chicken. Normally I'll buy boneless thighs too to throw on the grill. They're real easy. You can marinate those things, throw them on. It only take a few minutes to cook. It tastes really good. So there's Squib. He's back. He's in his truck. Where are you off to, Squib?
Heading home. I was out taking care of something. I'm driving through I'm on the east side. There's a reason I moved away from the east side. These people can't drive I'm driving through probably the most congested shopping area 4 days before Christmas. Am I crazy?
Yes. Why did you do that?
Because I must be crazy. I don't know. No, this is actually probably still the fastest way to go, even though I'm driving through this. I guess with them all on both sides of me, I was in maybe I was getting the Faraday cage effect, and you were roboting, and I knew it was on my end. I didn't think I was going to drop out.
All right. Well, I was talking about chicken breasts. So that's the best way to get them. Problem is that normally is buy the chicken breast if you're going to buy a bonus chicken breast, because normally what will happen if you go to a meat place, if they're cut in half and they're thin, they normally charge you a higher price for doing it. So, but you know, I mean, they're quite. Oh, and the trick to this is a sharp knife. I mean, I'm talking sharp. When you put your hand on top of the chicken and slice it like that, I mean, when you're slicing it, you can feel the blade going through. You know, guarantee you, there's more cuts done with a blunt knife than there is a sharp knife. Because with a blunt knife, you're struggling, and there's more chance of it slipping and cutting you. With a real sharp knife, it just goes right through where you want it. You know, just wanted to let you guys know that out there. Sharp knife. Always steel your knife too before you do it, and keep it sharp. You put it on a stone. If you haven't got a stone and you use one of those electric grinders, it will sharpen it, but your blade will wear out faster that way. That's why I know all my kitchen knives, I use a stone on them. You know, because I prefer it. I mean, I still got a steak knife that I use. It's a what is it? 14-inch steak knife, and it's still almost. The blade is still almost. When I got it, I think it was maybe by that thick, and maybe it's only gone down maybe a quarter of an inch in 30 years, if that, because I use a stone on it. If I was using one of those electric grinders, that steak knife would have been gone years and years ago. You know, so. But that's about it. Next week I'll make sure I think of a cut before I come on. I mean, that was just off the top of my head about the chicken, so I know it wasn't that great, you know. But anyway, while I'm going on this, if anybody's having prime rib for Christmas and you're buying a bone-in one, get your meat guy, ask him to peel the bone off and tie it back on. Right? So then when you cook it, when you put it in your pan, as I said before, like with the turkey or anything you cook in the oven, you should, when you put it in your pan or whatever, you should always don't sit it right on the bottom of the pan. You either use a cooking sheet or said it's for celery sticks, because they can hold later on before it sits off the bottom. That way, when it's cooking in the fats and stuff and the grease or whatever is running off it, it's not sitting in its own juices, and the bottom getting all greasy. So personally myself, there's different methods of cooking it. And I said this before. I believe that putting your oven at about 275, doing 20 minutes a pound, plus an extra 20 minutes. Leave your meat on the side till it gets to room temperature before you stick it in the oven. Otherwise, it's going to screw up your cooking times. So, but anyway, if you got it that way and you put it in the oven, it's all cooked. And what I like about this is, if it's not cooked enough to your liking, you can always put it back in and cook it some more. If you go with the fast method, there's one where it says put it on 500 for about 30 minutes or an hour, then turn it down and cook it slow. You know, if you ruin it, you can't take it out. If you overcooked it, you can't take the doneness away. But if it's undercooked to your liking, you can keep it in the oven and cook it a little bit more. But anyway, once it's cooked and you pull it out, You let it sit for, 5 minutes or so. Cut the strings, lift the meat off the bone, then it's so much easier to slice, for everybody. If somebody wants a bone, you can cut through it and give them one. They want to chew on it like a dog while they're at the table, go for it. But that's the best way is cut off. It makes when you cut it off and you lift it off the bone, you got a boneless piece of meat and you're slicing it. It's a hell of a lot easier. It really is. So that's for you, just for you people who might be doing a prime rib for Christmas. Because I won't see you before Christmas. I might see you on Christmas, but I won't see you before. So I want everybody to have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Unless you celebrate some other stuff, by all means. But I'm a Merry Christmas guy. So there we go. So I want to say thank you to everybody. So Kingpin, any last shout outs or plugs or anything?
No, thanks for having me. Always a good show, and looking forward to the Christmas night show.
All right. Squib, how about you?
Yeah, it's another time where words escape me. I was thinking of a smart remark to make, but it just isn't appropriate. Maybe next time.
Okay. Try not to drink too much wild turkey on Christmas.
Well, if I do, you'll get to hear the results.
Yeah. All right.
Rick.
All right.
Kingpin. Hey, let me tell you.
All right. So more than likely, I would say it's a 90% chance that I'm going to be here Wednesday night at 7 p.m. with Rick's Life Shooting with Disabilities. Whether the topic is disabilities, I'm not going to guarantee. It just might be a free-for-all like this is. But I'll be here more than likely. 90% sure I'll be here. So if you're around, stop by and see me on Christmas Day. If not, otherwise, have a great Christmas, and I will see you afterwards. So, good night, everybody.